In case you needed another reason to choose the Roxor over a side-by-side, this might be it. The Roxor, because it has a manual transfer case with a neutral position, is flat towable. That's why you see so many Jeep Wranglers behind motorhomes as people cruise the country. You can shift it into neutral and completely disengage the axles, the transmission. Actually, this one does have lockout hubs, which would be a requirement, but very, very few vehicles are flat towable anymore. Virtually none of the front-wheel drive vehicles are towable. Virtually none of the SUVs that are all-wheel drive are flat towable because they don't have a transfer case. Even my Nissan, which is my tow vehicle, does not have a neutral position. It has high and low four-wheel drive and four-wheel drive low with a front differential lock, but there's no neutral. I can't shift it into neutral. I can't tow it flat. I would have to put it on a trailer, or at the very least get one of those front-wheel dollies to tow it. So this Roxor is right now in neutral. The transfer case is in neutral. The transmission is actually in first gear, but the transmission is not connected, so it just freewheels. There is no steering wheel lock with a Roxor, and there isn't on the modern Jeep Wranglers, Rubicons, Scramblers for that same reason. The wheels actually turn as you're going down the road just by friction. You can watch in the rearview mirror and the steering wheel turns. The front wheels follow the tow vehicle. The front wheels turn, and then when you straighten out, they go back straight again. It's just freaky to watch. When you tow a vehicle, of course, it's not running, so there's no tail lights. So this has auxiliary lights, one on each side, and those are basically the same as wiring up a trailer or a boat. They are connected, and then they run a long cord, and then I have a couple magnets on the side there, down to the tow bar, and then into the trailer wiring. That has a big, well, hello, Mr. Rooster. It has a big connection, but there's no trailer brakes. And the Roxor, being just over 3,000 pounds, is not heavy enough that it requires auxiliary brakes. If you see somebody towing a full-size pickup or a Suburban or something like that behind a motorhome, they actually have to have a remote braking system pushing down on the brake pedal wired to the tow vehicle. But this is so light that even with my 6-cylinder Nissan, I can barely feel it behind me. And it actually tows better than a trailer because the weight is spread out over 4 wheels instead of just 2 wheels bumping along. Now let me give you a look at the tow bar here. This is the stock Roxor bumper, but the bumper is normally only attached with 2 bolts. These are the D-rings that are an accessory from On the Rocks. So you install the D-rings, and then you mark the 2 extra holes, and there's a threaded hole behind each one of these. The stock ones only have 2 bolts. You end up with 4 bolts. So you have a total of 8 bolts that are connected to the hitch mechanism. This is a tow bar from a company called Smittybilt, and the reason I got this one is that it came with the swivels, or the adjustable clevis here, that locks on to the D-ring. Now I did add some extra spacers in there, and I'll show you some details on that later. And it came with a little bit lighter pins. I drilled it out 1 size larger and put in the same 5/8 inch pin that you use on your hitch receiver. So I have the trailer hitch is only held in place by 1 of those pins. Here I have 2 of those 5/8 inch pins, so obviously more than enough. I mean, those are rated for 10,000 pounds. And then it has a standard 2-inch ball. It doesn't require a big 2 5/16 inch ball. And then there's safety chains, of course, just like any other trailer. And then again, the trailer wiring, or in this case, the auxiliary wiring. Now, I'm not going a long distance today, but I have towed vehicles flat towed like this behind semis and behind motorhomes back and forth across the country. And I can tell you there's really no wear and tear on the vehicle other than the fact that the tires are riding on the ground. It doesn't record miles, and it doesn't add up, change your oil change frequency or anything like that. The only thing I would do when I'm going longer distances, I'm going to close those vents on the windshield, and then I'm going to put a cover over the windshield just to keep rocks and bugs from scratching it up, and then I'll fold in the mirrors too. But right now, the larger side-by-sides, the 60-inch, the 64-inch, you need a good-sized trailer, and they're heavy enough. You really should have a dual-axle tandem trailer. So being able to flat tow the Roxor, besides all the other advantages, just saved you $4,000. These are the tow lights that I added to my Roxor, my 4x4, and I just want to say that they are fantastic. These are wired. The left and right lights are wired together. There's the connecting wire down there, and then they obviously are wired to the trailer light connection on my truck. But I have steady reflectors in the center. There's a running light on the bottom for your tail light. The turn signal is actually on the top. And then if you run your four-way flashers, both flash at the same time too. I don't have a license plate on here, but there is actually a white license plate light there if you want to use those on a trailer or something that has to have a license plate illuminated. But they're held on by the magnet. The only thing I did was I did add a thin piece of the real soft shelf liner behind that, the rubberized liner, and that just keeps the magnets from scratching up my paint. But man, these things are great. Plug them in and it acts just like a trailer. Turn signals, stop lights, tail lights, four-way flashers for a really, really low price. I can't give them any higher than 5 stars.